What's the inevitable? We're all going to get old, right? Whether you like it or not, at some point you're going to look in the mirror, you're going to have wrinkles. It's just the reality. You're going to get up sometimes and your back's going to be shot, right? And all that stuff is the inevitable, right? So getting old and all of that, they talked about the shortcuts that people try to create in life that they end up regretting the most. And it makes me think about all the times that, like, I talk to my grandparents and, my grandfather, he's been going through a bunch for the last couple of years and, he's almost on his way out soon. And it made me think about it. And as I'm reading this article, I'm like, man, every time him and I chat, it's always the same thing as well. Like, I always love picking my grandparents' brains on, like, what life was like back in, like, the 50s and stuff. Because I can't fathom that, they tell me about, like, before the refrigerator had, like what we know now today. It used to be just like an ice block that they put at the bottom of the fridge to keep everything cool. And you had to, like, get that once a month as it would melt down, right? You think about, like, life like that, right? So I always, like, asking questions like that. And it's crazy because, lately when I talk to him, he just mentions a lot of things that he wishes he would have done when he was younger. And for me, it's sad to hear sometimes, but it makes me also, like, very motivated. Like, it's almost like one of those things where you hear something and it's like, well, let me not fall into that trap. It's crazy because Einstein said that genius is 1% talent and 99% effort. And most success stories, you hear so much about what the person has or what their net worth is, but no one really emphasizes on what the journey that they took to get to that point. So just a couple examples I want to talk about before we jump into it. And I'm going to start off with the first person. Does anybody know who that person is?
Yes, Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. He's a millionaire.
He has a
Right?
couple
You guys all know
thousands
Mark
of millions.
Cuban from where? Shark Tank. You see him on TV. For those of you who know sports, he's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, right? He's a pretty well-known guy. You see him on, like, that VH1, like, super rich lifestyle show, right? But do you guys know what it took for him to get to the point to where he was? Does anyone know?
Didn't he start selling stuff out of his car or something crazy like that?
I'm not going to give you the whole story, right? But Mark Cuban, he's worth $4.1 billion, but he started out going door to door selling stamps.
Wow.
Door to door selling stamps in his early 20s. He then went on to create a website that he sold for like $28 million. And that's how he got his start.
Wow.
But no one really talks about that journey, and it's funny because they mentioned it one time on Shark Tank and he was just like, oh, the golden days, you know what I mean? Like, but no one really emphasizes on like what it took for him to do it. Like, I would love for a documentary or a movie to come out and him just talking about like what life was like before having all of that stuff, right? Let's put another name up here. How many of you guys know this person?
Yes.
You guys ever seen Medea?
Yes.
He was homeless.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry, homeless, living out of his car. What's he? He's most known for the movies and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like really in Hollywood now.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, he was homeless, living out of his car. I was reading an article about Tyler Perry, and the funny thing is that he would scrape up money every single year to host a show. And that one show that he would host, it cost about maybe 20 grand just to run it. And he would invite friends, family, people all over to come to watch his show. And probably for the first 4 years, nobody would ever show up. There'd be like 3 or 4 people in the crowd. After investing 20 grand into doing it, up until that 4th or 5th year is when he caught his big break and someone went to go watch his show and was like, that man is talented. And then all that Medea stuff started. Tyler Perry, he's worth $600 million. Third person on this list? You guys ever hear of this individual?
Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
Paul Mitchell. What's he best known for?
Hair.
His hair products, right? I'm sure right now some of you guys have the bottle in your
Yes.
tubs or in your bathroom, right? Paul Mitchell hair products. This gentleman's worth $3.4 billion. Anybody know his story?
I didn't even know her.
I don't know. Wow.
Story's interesting, right? He was a homeless guy. He was on his outs. He had nothing going for him. Him and a partner took their last $600 and they bottled up shampoo and conditioner in the bottle that you see today, right? There's no design. It's just it's a plain bottle that just says his name. They couldn't afford any fancy designs or colors. So all he did was slap his name on a bottle and they went business to business, to hair salon, selling the product. He did business to business for about 3.5 years. And in 3.5 years, he went from homeless, putting in his last $600, to becoming a multi-millionaire. Now, being a multi-billionaire. But no one really emphasizes on the stories, right? So talking about all the shortcuts in life, number one, the first thing that I have, that's taking the easy way out. Taking the easiest route. You know, you got to understand that you guys only get one life. Challenge yourself. The reason why we tell you in this business how you have such an opportunity to grow is because we challenge you to be competitive. Be competitive with you. Challenge yourself on a daily basis. Every single struggle teaches you what? Two things. An experience and also a lesson. That's why a lot of times people fail in life, or they fail at certain things that they go to try to attempt to do, and then they just end up giving up and quitting. And what happens is you develop a habit of becoming a quitter. But every time that you fail, what's your perception of it? Do you look at it as, I can't do that anymore, let me try something else? Or do you look at it as, that's a lesson learned, I'll not do that the next time? All these people on this list, they all went through massive failures. And it was all an experience for them that they gained, and then something that ended up becoming a lesson. The way that I like to look at it is, anybody ever do like a shoot bow and arrows in here? Or anything like that? Right? I mean, you all know the concept. How does it work, right? Like this. You gotta pull it back to let it go. It's the same thing that you do when you're in life. You gotta take a couple of steps back sometimes and experience some failures to then finally launch to hit your target of where you're trying to go. You can't just have an arrow just go out and then hit its target. No, it has to go backwards first. That's why in this business, we put you through so much failure at first, because we want to see if you're going to break. We want to see if you're going to crack. You guys who've been here for a while, you see it happen all the time. Someone comes in, they go through a little bit of adversity, and they just give up. They give up and go do what? A 9 to 5? Where's that going to get you? Doing it for what? You got to learn to fail. Take steps back and just keep aiming. It's a quote that I love. I forgot who said it one time, but they were like, if I shoot for the moon and I miss, at least I'll land amongst the stars. And that's awesome to me. I love hearing that. But that's your mentality. That should be your mentality not only in here, but just in your life. Number 2 on this list. Settling by default. A lot of times, people, they say, you know, my family wasn't successful. Nobody in my family ever owned a business. No one in my family has a degree. So you think that you can't do those things. The people in my family said, oh, that only happens to lucky people. We grew up on this side of the tracks in the neighborhood. Or we're people like us, no, what is it? Good things like that don't happen to people like us. You guys ever heard that before? Have we all heard that at some point from a friend or a family member? Right? And what that does is that puts a mental block on your mentality, and it restricts you from doing certain things. When I first started doing this, I was told from my own family members that I couldn't do this. And I was just like, the loved ones who love me, that taught me everything, are putting me down and putting a restriction on me. I'm going to break that. I'm going to break that restriction to prove everyone wrong. So when I talk about settling by default, define your worth. What are you worth? There's no job out there that's going to pay you more than $20 an hour. I'll guarantee you that right now. Anything that will is going to put you on a salary. What's $20 an hour? $48,000 a year? Who's happy with that? Once you get put onto salary, I can guarantee you 48 grand a year, 50 grand a year, you're going to be working 60, 70 hours a week. That's just the reality of it. What are you worth? When I started this, I realized my potential. I think I'm worth $1,000 a day. That's why I do what I do, that I can do what I do. Because I define my worth. But what's your worth? And if you know what your worth is, are you out there attacking it every single day? Are you out there going to get it? Or are you just going to let it pass you by and just watch the next person? Just find your worth. Number 3. Leaving everything to chance. Dedicate yourself to what your why is, guys. There's a reason why all of you have decided to do something like this. And don't get me wrong, for some of you, it might not be to be a business owner, and it is what it is. But what is your why? Are you doing this to acquire some skills? Are you doing this to learn how to have some management experience? Are you doing this to learn how to have sales experience? Because let's be realistic. Every single day, everything that you do, it's sales. It's sales, baby. You ever been in a relationship before? Sales. You ever got a job before? Sales. I'm telling you, that we teach you an invaluable skill here that you can literally hone on and get better every single day to become a better person, right? Whatever your why is, make sure you're attacking that every single day. Because if you're not, I don't know what you're doing here. I don't know what you're doing in life. Dedicate yourself to your why. If you crave certain things, doors will open. I've shared this story with a couple of you guys, and I mean, some of you know my background, but I'm 30 now, but in my early 20s, I was homeless twice. And I'll never forget, I know what it's like before. I know what it's like to not know when my next meal is coming. And that craving setting in of, man, I haven't eaten in the last 18 hours, where's that next meal coming in? And all my focus would turn into was, where am I gonna eat? What am I gonna eat? And at that point, when I had that craving and that focus, I wasn't thinking about what's on TV. I wasn't thinking about what are my friends doing tonight. I wasn't thinking about what music concerts coming into town. That was my only focus. And if some of you could have that focus for your own career, instead of being distracted by all these things going on, you would see success already. But you don't have that craving. If you crave something long enough, doors will open to get it. You got one life. You're the director of it. Your life's a movie. You guys see famous people, they get real famous, they make a movie. You all seen 8 Mile? Mm-hmm. All right, the Biggie movie, NWA, right? You see, it happens all the time. Think about this real quick. If your life up until this point was a movie, would it be a sellout in the box office? Or would people go in there and throw popcorn at the screen because it's so boring? Think about it. I think my story is freaking amazing. Amazing. I think people would come out of there with chills and start pursuing their dreams. What's your life like, though? Is it boring? Are there challenges? Do you give up? Do you whine and cry about things? Or do you attack things? You're the director of your movie. You're the star on the screen. At any point, you could go back and rewrite the script. You could start today and rewrite the script for what it's going to look like 10 years from now. But most of you don't think like that because you want the now. You don't think about where you're going to be in 5 or 10 years because you're so concerned about now. You're like, $10 an hour? I only got 30 hours last week. Let me go find somewhere that's going to pay me more hourly. And where are you going to be in 10 years? In the same bullshit company. Either that or getting laid off and then looking for another job. I can't tell you how many people that I interview. 40-something years old. Oh, this isn't enough hourly. But you just came from making $12 an hour. Oh, $10 an hour. What? It's disgusting to me. Number 4 on this list. Following the crowd. You guys need to learn to break your comfort zones every single day. Every day in this business, you will be challenged, and you will be challenged tough. Things are not going to come easy to you. The things that you really want in life, you really have to work your ass off for to get. And I'm just being honest with you, right? I might not have everything that I want right now, but I can sure do a lot of things with my time. The money that I have right now gives me the options to do that, right? So you got to make sure that you're breaking comfort zones every day. If there's something that you don't like to do, attack it. Don't shy away from it. Don't just focus on what your strengths are because you're never going to grow as a person. One of the things that I love hearing the most is that when someone's been working here for like 3 or 4 weeks and they get promoted from entry level to account manager, you hear them come up here and stand up and what do they say? Man, I've grown so much as a person since I've been doing this. That gets me excited. Do you know what it's like to feel like that? And that person felt like that for 3 weeks. Do you know what it would be like for 3 years doing that? If y'all would have met me 5 years ago, you'd have been like, no, who's that? You got a twin? Is that your stunt double? Right? I was never like this. But you grow as a person. And you can only grow but to better yourself. Right? Attacking your comfort zones. Stop looking for validation from others. That's one of the biggest problems, and Gary Vee talks about it all the time. So many people buy things or do things to impress others that they don't even like. So when you consistently live life trying to get validation from other people, you're not going to become successful. Crabs in the bucket theory, y'all. If you don't know what it is, one crab starts to climb out, the other one pulls you down. That's just life. Friends, family, that's just how it goes. Surround yourself around people who are positive, that want to see you make it. Oh, I guarantee you'll make it. All my friends I grew up with, all my family members that say negative things to me, they're not even in my contact list anymore. I can guarantee you that if they were, I wouldn't be standing here right now. Number 5. Putting things off. Learn to not procrastinate, guys. Every single list, make a daily to-do list. Every single day. Every day, write down something that you need to do to get done, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's work toward your career. There's got to be something on a to-do list that I need to finish today. I need to accomplish it, and I need to do that every single day. You have to understand that you will be judged by what you do, not by what you say. Write that down. You will be judged by what you do, not by what you say. And if I can live life like that, and I can understand how this business works, and I understand what my bigger goal is and my vision, and I understand what my why is, then I need to understand that every single day, if I wake up determined and I attack my goals, that I'll be able to go to sleep every single night satisfied. And if you're not waking up determined to go to sleep satisfied, you're not living life right. I'm not even talking about this business. I'm talking about in general, guys. And that's me talking to you from the heart. If you cannot wake up determined for your day and attack and go to sleep feeling satisfied that you knew you gave it your all that day, you're not doing it right. Right? So the journey begins when you're born, and the destination is death. It's inevitable.